What's going on, everyone? Chase here, and today we're going to be talking about how to send millions of messages a day with robots and unlock infinite leads that want to pay you for your services or products. So if you're brand new here, you've never made money online before, don't worry, you're in the right place. I'm going to show you how to DIY it today, do it yourself. But if you want help getting it done, I have a done for you DFY service. I'm going to leave as a link in the description of this video, and I will actually go and set up this entire system for you. And if you're confused about how it works after watching this video and you want more help and information on how to get set up, feel free to send me a text. I will leave my phone number on the screen right here. Here's my country code, and you can send me a text. Also, if you want me to keep you updated on these systems and you want me to make more videos and free training on this system, just reply with the word yes in the comments right now. It lets me know to make more videos like this in the future. And again, here's my cell if you want to text me and if you want to get set up with the done for you. But if you want to do it yourself, stick around. I'll show you how to get it done. All right, so there's a few different links I'm going to leave below the description of this video, and that's what we're going to use to get set up with this system. First thing we're going to need, though, before anything, is an email address to start getting leads in. So I recommend setting up a burner email address because we're going to be sending out millions of messages and we don't want to burn out our own email. So we're going to create a Gmail. How do we do that? Just head over to Gmail, click on new Gmail address or add another account, and then you're just going to set up a burner Gmail and you're going to keep track of that Gmail right in here. Now, if you don't have a phone number, there's plenty of different services that allow you to buy a phone number so you can get verified on Gmail. I think Skype is one of them, but I'm just going to go with one of the random Gmails I've already made here. And I just want to show you what a few of these leads look like so you can see what to expect. I'm going to show you some of the messaging I use to get leads. Let's click on a few of these here. So here we can see I said, hi, I made a marketing video for your website for free. Can I send it here? Respond yes. If so, this person says, yes, send please, send me please. Let's find some other ones. Hi, I made a marketing video for your website. Can I send it here? Hello, yes, thanks. And I have lots of responses. Look at this, 10,000 responses. Now, a lot of these are auto responses, but some of them are not, like this person. Yes, they're responding to the free website or free video. Yes, and if it's good, I'll pay for it. Okay, so the idea here is we're gonna use robots and automation to send out millions and millions of messages, and then we're going to respond to those messages that we get inside of our emails, and we're going to offer them a free thing, and then we're going to offer to charge for it because obviously we can't do everything for free all the time. We need to charge for our time at some point. Okay, so first thing you're going to need is a burner Gmail. Once you have that, go ahead and pause the video, go grab the burner Gmail, and then come back, and we're going to do the next part, which is setting up GSA. Okay, so next we're going to go over to GSA. Now this is the tool we're going to be using. And if you use the links in here, it gives me a small kickback. I think it's like 10, 20 bucks. If you want to use the links, great. If not, whatever. But anyways, we're going to grab two things. We're going to grab GSA website contact and then GSA CAPTCHA breaker. So the GSA contact, what this is it's a server, or not, sorry. It's a tool that will allow us to send a bunch of messages through through different website contact pages. CAPTCHA breaker, this is what's going to allow us to break CAPTCHAs on those pages. So you don't have to get the CAPTCHA breaker, but I would recommend it because it's going to allow you to get more messages sent. So you're going to grab these two. If you only want to grab one, just grab one, and then you're going to check out. They're going to send you a license to your email. And you're going to save that as well in a notepad, and make sure you just keep a notepad with all this stuff in it because it's going to help you out later. All right. So you should, by the end of this part of the video, just pause it, get your license here, add it here. It'll have your name and your license there, your name and your license here, and then come back. Next, we're going to get proxies. Proxies allow us to send messages without having our IP address banned. So when we send messages through these contact forms, it's going to all come from, by default, our IP address. And if we have enough websites reporting our IP address, we will get our IP address banned, And then our internet service provider is going to get very mad at us and say, we don't want to sell you internet anymore. So we don't want to do that. So we're going to click on private proxies here. We're going to scroll down, and here's what we want to do here. So I recommend anywhere between 10 to 100 proxies. Basically, the way this tool works is it works off something called threads. Every single thread we get, every single proxy we get counts for about 10 threads, okay? We can run up to 1,000 threads at a time inside of this tool. So if we're going to run, let's say 100 proxies, we can do 1,000 threads. If we're going to run 10 proxies, we can do 100 threads. If we're going to run one proxy, we can do 10 threads. Now, I recommend anywhere between 10 to 100 because your speed is going to go up the more proxies you use and the more threads you run. And I'll explain more of this in later in this video, but just know that I would recommend if you're starting out, maybe just get 10. If you want to just experiment with kind of a slower scrape and sending of messages. If you want a faster, you just want to go full speed, you would want to get something like the 100. And I actually have around 700 proxies myself, but that's because I'm running 5 different private servers with 700 proxies and millions of messages being sent. Okay, so you don't have to do that yet to start. Just start with something small, and then if you want to add more later, you can. Or if you just want to go big right off the bat, get the 100. Okay. Now, next we're going to get the VPS, and this is kind of the last thing. The only thing beyond this is optional, but the virtual private server, this is how we're going to go and log into a computer in a different location. So we're not running this on our own computer, because right now I'm sending messages in Los Angeles on a computer in Los Angeles, and I don't want to have to take up my own processing power on this computer. I wouldn't be able to make this video right now because it'd be lagging. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to Solid SEO VPS. I'm going to go to Windows VPS. I'm going to grab the Ryzen VPS, and we don't need anything bigger than the 34 a month VPS. I'm going to order that. And it's going to ask us for some details. Host name and root password. This is just whatever you want to set. So if you want a name called, I don't know, Shinify PC, you can call it that. Root password, again, doesn't matter. We're going to do Windows 2022. And then we're going to choose Los Angeles, California, because we are in the US and we want to do this from Los Angeles. And then we're going to continue. Now, this is going to take about 30 minutes to 60 minutes to set up from Solid SEO. Once it's set up, they're going to send you an email. And again, you're just going to save all of that info. You're going to save all your proxies in this notepad, save your VPS info and all your licensing info in the notepad. So you can just have it for when you're doing your contact forms. Now, the only thing after this, and this is again optional, but it is something that I would recommend, is the contact form lists. And the contact form lists, this is just pre-made lists that have already been built that will allow you to send messages without having to go and scrape your own lists. Now, this is great if you're starting out, because if you're starting out, you're not going to have any contact forms to send to. And sorry, let me pull up this link here. It's not working on this screen. Let me grab the right link. But when you're starting out, you're not going to have any contact forms. You're going to have to scrape your own. And so if you're just learning, I'd recommend getting a list of already pre-built contact forms. That way you can just start seeing the responses come in. This is like one of the quickest ways to just start immediately getting leads coming in. And then if you want to buy more later, you can. I'm not sure why this, there we go. There's the right link. It's $97 and you get 2 million contact forms to play with. That's 2 million websites with contact forms that you can start sending to. And this is just a great place to start and try out. But again, that is up to you. Okay. The only other thing I recommend is Discord, just because you should join our Discord server. I'm going to leave a link to that in the description as well. If you ever have any questions, you're confused, you can always ask people inside of our Discord server, including myself, you know, hey, is this right? Or is this right or wrong, whatever. And then alternatively, you can also just get the setup, which again, I'm going to leave a link to that. DFY setup. I'll just go and set up all this stuff for you if you don't want to worry about figuring it all out yourself. Okay. All right. So that's the main things that you need to get started. Now that you have all these things in place, which again, if you don't, pause this video, go grab everything. And then once you come back and you have everything, we can start the setup. So what we're going to do for the setup is we're going to start by going into the VPS. Now, when we go to the VPS, you have two options, right? You either are using a Windows or you're using a Mac. If you're using a Windows, all you have to do is pull up RDP, or remote desktop protocol or connection, RDC, I guess. And then you can just connect to the IP address that Solid SEO VPS gives you. If you aren't going to use a Windows computer and you're using a Mac, you're going to have to install a program by going to the App Store and looking up remote desktop connection. But either way, you're going to get a window that looks like this, whether you're on Mac or on PC or on Windows. And what you're going to do is you're going to connect to the IP address that the VPS gives you, the provider. So we're going to click on connect. We're going to click on yes, and it's going to ask us for our credentials that we get. And then we're going to be able to log in to our remote desktop. Again, this remote desktop has already been set up, but I'll still show you the setup. This is in Los Angeles. Now you can see I'm running about 14 projects at once. Each one of these has about 1 million contact forms preloaded. And that's why I was saying earlier, you can actually get pre-built lists of millions of contact forms. I actually spent around $1,000 on a pre-built list like this. Again, I will leave links to all these different resources in the description of this video if you want to go and buy them. But anyways, I'm not going to go into the advanced stuff here because we could be here all day, and I just want to show you how to do a basic setup, and then maybe in a later video I can show you the more advanced stuff. Again, if you want me to show you the more advanced stuff, let me know in the comments and I'll know to make more videos. All right, so first thing that we're going to do, because none of this is going to be open, is we're going to cancel all of this out. We're going to head over to our links that we saved in our notepad files, and we're going to go download everything we need. So one thing that we need is the GSA website contact. And I'm going to download it off the website here. The next thing we need is the capture breaker. Like so. Download, and then I'm just going to install both of these on my computer. Now, when I open these up for the first time, they're going to ask for the licensing. Now, you want to make sure that when you do the licensing, you copy and paste. If you manually enter in your keys, it will not work. So when you're running your private server like this, and you have your key on your main computer, you have to copy it like this, and then bring it over here, and then paste it in. Otherwise, again, your licensing will not work, and you'll be very frustrated. Okay, so now that we have both of these installed, and I renamed it the secret sauce, but you can call it whatever you want. We should have GSA website contact on here, and then we should also have the captcha breaker. Now we want to open both of them up, so we're going to open up GSA contact, and then I'm going to also open up captcha breaker here, and I'll just drag this to the desktop so I know where it is. And when you first pull this open, there's not going to be any projects in it. It's going to ask you if you want to create a project. I would just cancel out of everything and just have it fresh because we're going to do it all ourselves. So we're going to open up GSA captcha breaker here. And these tools can be a little laggy. If they don't open up immediately, give them some time because again, these tools are not like super, like they're not super honed in yet, I don't think. And I don't mean they're not super honed in. They're not like, they're not very stable. That's what I'm trying to say. Like they'll break all the time. If you start sending and the tool's not responding, it's better just to pull up Task Manager and check out your CPU usage. If it's too high, it's probably because this tool's like trying to do something that's not working. And then I would just go to processes, go to the website contact and just end the task and reopen it. That's the easiest way. Okay. All right, so let's talk about what we're going to do now that we have GSA captcha breaker and website contact set up. Now, one of the things that's going to happen when you open up GSA captcha breaker after the licensing, it's going to ask you, do you want to run this on a local server or do you want to run this just with GSA products? You want to select only with GSA products. All right. Once that's done, this is going to be set up. Now, in order to enable captcha breaker, we need to start a project by clicking on new. I never use the wizard. I always just go advanced. And we're going to call this project 1. Click on OK. Now, first of all, the default here is to scrape keywords from the project. We don't want that. If we deselect this, we'll no longer have anything that we're scraping and we can add our own keywords. If we go to submission content and sorry, CAPTCHAs, we can click on add GSA CAPTCHA breaker, and then it will be good to go. It will be in here. Now, one of the things that we can select inside of the CAPTCHA service is how many times we want to retry the deCAPTCHA. I recommend, if you're only running a few proxies, to have this set lower, around 0, because you're not going to have a lot of threads that you can run. And if you're using multiple retries on the deCAPTCHA service, you're going to not have a lot of messages that you're going to be sending very quickly because of the fact that you have low threads. So if you're low on proxies, I would just set this to 0. If you're high on proxies, anywhere between 100 to 200 proxies, I would set this up to 3. Now, what we got to do is we got to start scraping for some keywords. Now, there's a ton of different ways to do this, but just know that the easiest way, and again, I'm not going to go into the advanced stuff, but the easiest way is just go to add, enter, and then you can start entering in things that you want to scrape. So if I want to scrape for roofers, and I want to add cities here, I can click on add cities, and then I can select all the different places that I want to scrape roofers from. So if I wanted to if I wanted to scrape roofers from cities of KH, Kokong, I think there's cities of pretty much any state in the world here. So you can really get very deep with the scraping that you do. But let's just say we wanted to go for Ireland here. So we're going to scrape all the roofers around Ireland. Click on OK. Start. Now, before I start scraping for these websites, what I want to do is I want to set up my proxies. Remember, if this is not enabled, you're going to most likely get your IP address banned. So make sure that this is checked and that your proxies are on. If I go to checking, I also want to make sure my proxies are on here. And if I go to submission content, I need to make sure that these are all checked, because again, you can run into some serious issues if you're not careful. So just make sure that you double check before you start sending that all of those are on. Now, if I click on, let me just go ahead and hide my proxies here so you don't see my logins. But if I click on configure here, right here next to the use proxies, I can load in my proxies. The way I do that is I just click on add proxy. I'm going to go ahead and import from file, and then I can just load in whatever my proxy file is, or if I just save them all in the notepad, I can just paste them from my clipboard as well by doing import from clipboard. And then you want to make sure that before you send that your proxies are working. You see how it says check 770 proxies here, unchecked 0. That means all of my proxies are working, they're green, and I can always test my proxies. And by the way, if you do a lot of scraping and sending, you will probably at some point start to burn out your proxies, okay? So it's always good to test them if you haven't tested your proxies in a while, or if you're sending a lot of messages. Just make sure you go through them and test them. You can see all of these are working right now, but it's also because they're brand new and I haven't been burning out these proxies by sending out, millions and millions of messages on these actual proxies yet, okay? So once that's done and they're all tested and you have green, what you can do is now you can start scraping and sending messages. Now, one of the other things I want to mention here is the different search engines. So inside of this tool, I can select if I want international search engines, if I want just Google, if I want Bing, whatever, right? And I can kind of select them or deselect them. You can see I have 91 out of 2,200 search engines checked. I can also scrape from other places. So if I want to use something like Scrapebox or Phantom Buster, and I want to scrape Google My Businesses or whatever I want to scrape, Instagram profiles, and I want to find their contact pages, I can add my own URLs here. But again, I'm not going to get into that because we would go deep down the rabbit hole and we would be here all day. So anyways, we're going to click on OK. And remember, I unchecked the project keyword. So we're only scraping for roofers and then whatever city states that we selected here. So if I click on start, the most basic way to get started is just click on scrape. And this will just find websites. And if we open this up, let me show you what's happening here so you can see this. We can see what's actually going on. We can see all the different things that are being scraped, all the different websites. We can see the source. URL, we can see the keywords. So this is all the different things we're scraping for, all the different topics. So these are all the cities, I'm assuming, in, was it Ireland that we're scraping from? Okay, we can stop that by clicking on stop. And now here's the thing. We got all the websites, but we don't know if they have contact pages yet. So we need to check them for contact pages. Now, what I recommend is instead of going and looking for just the contact pages, do both. You know, why just only scrape URLs? So instead, we're going to do scrape plus check. And now this is going to start looking for websites that have contact pages. So this is looking for all the different contact pages now. Now remember, as I said earlier, if I go here and I only have, let's say, 10 proxies, I want to go up to the settings up here, miscellaneous, and I want to make sure that I'm not running more than 100 threads if I'm doing 10 proxies. Now, if you have over 100 proxies, then I would recommend going up to 1,000 threads, but I wouldn't do anything more than that because you're going to start getting diminishing returns. And at that point, you're better off just getting another private server or just scheduling it all out, right? Because we can also, when we do this, we can, instead of running one project at a time, we can actually go to the scheduling tool and we can schedule all of these to run, and we can actually run all of these at the same time, or we can have them run concurrently, one after the other. So if I right click here, and if I select them all, click on Start, Scheduler, I can choose to run as many projects as I want at a time, and I can have it auto switch projects or just wait till one project finishes and then it goes to the next. But either way, you can see we got 300 contact forms for roofers in Ireland, and now we can start testing our messages. So if I click on the project again, I can start filling out the content for the submissions. Now, all of this default is pretty randomized. So for my first name, it's just pulling from a list of different random names here. I can choose to refill this with my own variables that I want this tool to pull. Or I can just switch this to self-defined and use one name. It just really depends on whether or not you're sending a lot of messages and you want it all randomized, or if you're sending one message and you want it to be specific. Now, one thing you want to be careful of before you start sending messages is you want to make sure that you're abiding by CAN spam laws. Technically, you're supposed to add an opt-out to your contact forms by giving an unsubscribe or a one-click opt-out. Now, again, that's a more advanced topic. I'm not going to go into it on this video, but you want to make sure that you're not sending more than one offer per company to the people that you're sending to, because technically they need a way to opt out. So just be very, very careful when you're doing that. And if, again, you want me to go over the opt-out stuff in a future video, I can do that. But again, this is more just getting you up and running so you can get started. Okay, so for filling out the rest of this info, this is where you're going to put your burner Gmail address or email, whatever you chose. You can also add multiple emails and randomize them, but I don't recommend that because you do want to make sure you're checking on the responses that you're getting. So for your email, just put whatever you want. That is your Gmail burner. So we can put in, let's say, here's my gmail.com. Next, phone number. I wouldn't recommend filling this out just because you're going to get a lot of auto dialers calling your phone. So I would just leave this randomized. All this other stuff doesn't really matter. Website, pointless. The only thing I would really focus on is the subject line and the message. And this is arguably the most important part of the entire process. Now, remember, you can randomize this based on the list that you put here. But what I would recommend is that you self-define this and then you offer something for free. Now, you can do custom variables, but we're not going to cover that in this one. What I'd recommend is you just do something simple like, hey, I noticed something. And the idea is you want them to respond. If we can get the website owner to respond to us and say yes to something, we can get them on the phone and we can sell something. So in this message, I could say, I noticed something wrong with your website. Would you mind if I shared a free report with you? So now if they say yes to that, I can tell them, cool, when they in the response, right? They say yes, I can say, cool, before I send you the report, I want to get on the phone with you and just walk you through this. and show you in person. Because the worst thing you can do is just sending them the report and not get on the phone with them. Last thing you want to do is send a message, they say yes, and then you send them another email and then they just don't respond. So if you can get them to say yes, then get them on the phone. Step 1, get them to respond. Step 2, get them on the phone. And then just show them you're valuable. Offer them something for free for the first week, and then tell them that you're going to charge for your time after. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the retry submit. Now remember, if you're running low threads and low proxies, I would not recommend retrying multiple submissions because you're going to run out of threads very quickly. So keep this around 0 to 1 if you're running low proxies. If you have a lot of proxies, then up this to maybe 2 or 3. All right, now that's pretty much all we got to do there. We're not going to go over this other stuff today. We're just going to keep all these settings like this, and then we're going to click on start and send. Now, if you got a list of pre-built contact forms, what you can do is instead of scraping your own list like this, I can remove all of these by right-clicking and removing, and then I can double-click, add my own URLs, and then I can select out of one of these chunks of 1 million contact forms, like so, and then this is going to automatically upload all of these contact forms into this list so I can send out 1 million messages at a time per project. Now, you don't want to load more than 1 million at a time into a project because it's going to crash the tool. And also, it's going to ask if you want to check against your blacklist. Now, because you probably haven't sent contact forms before, you're not going to have really many people in your blacklist besides the default blacklist, but do make sure you always check against the default blacklist so you're not sending to domains that have already been blacklisted. And inside of the tool, if you ever want to add more people to the blacklist, you can. And that way you don't recontact people that complained about you or, threatened you or whatever it is. And that's pretty much the main parts of this tool. Now, again, if you want me to help you get set up with this so you can start sending, let me know. I'm going to just show you here how to start sending. If I click on send and yes, this will start sending to the list of pre-built contact forms that we already created. And these contact forms take a long time to go and pre-check. To get 14 million contact forms, it takes a long time. Even a few million contact forms, it takes a long time. And you can see the tool's running. If I double click on the tool here, it will show me all the contact forms that are being sent to. And as I said earlier, the tool bugs out sometimes when you click on it, when it's trying to run at the same time. So that's what's happening right here. But while it's running, we're going to see all the contact forms that are being decrypted here. You can see it resumed after it had its little freak out. But these are what all the contact form decaptures are going to look like, so I can monitor them in real time. You can see they're all coming in here, and these are all the contact forms we're trying. And then again, if I double click on this, it's going to show me all the forms that are being sent. Every single one of these is a message being sent. Now remember, if you don't have a lot of proxies, it's not going to send this fast. It's going to be probably 1/10 the speed. And again, if you ever want to just add more proxies, you can do that. But that's pretty much it. That's the basics to getting set up with the infinite lead system. There is obviously a lot more that goes into this. This is just the tip of the iceberg. So if you're interested in getting set up, go grab the DFY setup or send me a text message. Again, I'll leave my phone number on the screen. So you can send me a text if you're curious, if you're not sure like how to get started and you just want to ask a question to me and go, hey, how does this work or how does that work? Please let me know. Again, here is my phone number. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully that helped you a little bit, and I can't wait to see how many leads you get. We already have a few people that got the system and they're very, very happy with it. In fact, one of them in Discord yesterday just posted, and actually we had one today as well, talking about how happy they are. And I was thinking about even publishing some of the recordings of the setup calls so you can hear how happy the people are. But we got a text this morning from Emerson. He said, wonderful experience I had meeting with Chase. He helped me understand that it is not just about getting leads, as that is easy with this system, but it is important to nurture those leads and get them on the phone call. And you're going to figure out too pretty quickly that once you get this set up, you're going to get so many leads that your problem's no longer going to be leads. It's going to be, how do I close all these leads? Most people, when they start out, they think their problem is just getting leads, but it's not. The hard part is actually doing the sales. So the cool thing though, is it's a numbers game. If you have enough people that say they want your help, eventually you're going to get some people saying, yes, I would like to buy from you. So it's only a matter of time. Let me get this other guy's testimonial here, just so you can see it. No, I don't have it on my computer here. Anyways, that's it for today. Let me know if you're interested, and we'll see you in the next one. Till then, happy money making. We'll see you. Bye.